Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan, Google Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. This is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. Alright, we have a pretty quick podcast today. Biggest part being, I've told you guys what the teams I think will be the 14 playoff teams. I told you what I think the 14 playoff teams will be. But I did think I wanted to go back, go through each division, rank them, and then make it a little easier than kind of just shot in the dark, taking 14 out of 32 teams. So that's what will be main topic of the show. But first, I'm going to start off with the Commanders. They are in no rush to name Jayden Daniels as quarterback one. And, it makes sense because I think in the NFL, you need to make sure a Super Bowl team, I think if you look at the last 10 Super Bowl teams, all of them have a good quarterback, an ace head coach, normally. Sometimes the head coach is just kind of reasonably good. They have a solid O-line. I think that's the whole reason the Patriots beat the Rams in 2019 was the O-line. And a good front seven. That will get you really far. And I know some NFL teams think it's best to start right away, get the quarterback experience, but listen, Aaron Rodgers, all-time great, didn't start immediately. Hell, he's at 3 years. Brett Favre didn't play immediately. Mahomes didn't. Lamar Jackson didn't. He's not necessarily an all-time great, but Jordan Love, he looks good right now, and he didn't start the first 3 years. Phillip Rivers didn't start right away. Tom Brady didn't start right away. But that's an anomaly. That's a way different position. But, point being, quarterbacks like Joe Montana, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Drew Brees, they all didn't start right away. And they were all pretty highly rated coming out of college. Brady's the outlier. He wouldn't have gotten a starting position if Drew Bledsoe didn't get hurt. But there's no reason to rush Jayden Daniels into a starting position. When it's not an optimal time to start him. If you get him in right now, that O-line was ranked the 27th best O-line by Pro Football Focus. It's a pretty big red flag there. We saw what happened, and Andrew Luck had a pretty good offense surrounded by him, but the O-line was always bad. He got hurt bad and was only able to play 7 seasons, and we all saw what he looked like those first 7 seasons. He was really good and had tremendous potential, but all those injuries hindered him. And we all saw Cam Newton. He didn't necessarily have... I think Andrew Luck had a worse O-line, but Cam Newton was also a mobile quarterback, and those guys tend to not last as long. And Jayden Daniels, he's a mobile quarterback. So I think on top of the fact that their O-line is crap, and Jayden Daniels is a rushing quarterback, you're just begging for injuries if you start him early. He can sit back for a bit and, a year or two. I don't think you have to do what Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love did, sitting back for 3 years, but a year or two just to build that O-line before throwing Daniels in there and getting him beat up. I think it's a pretty good idea. And in building the O-line, they can build their roster as a whole as well. So they're right. There's no reason to rush him as QB1. He was named quarterback one on the initial depth chart, but that's never finalized or official. So Matt Stafford, I think he had a contract adjustment, and he now has $23.5 million guaranteed. Pretty solid contract if this was 5 years ago, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The Rams, I think a lot of people are forgetting, are 2 years removed from winning a Super Bowl. And I think I don't think they're a Super Bowl team right now, but I do think they're a solid playoff team. They could, I mean, I'm going to tell you my division predictions, barring any injuries, but if CMC gets injured, it should be the Rams division for the taking. I don't think there's definitely a gap between them and the Niners, but not as big as most people think. Think about it. I think Sean McVay is a better coach than Kyle Shanahan. There's a small, it's not a marginal difference, but I do think Sean McVay has the upper hand. Stafford is a better quarterback than Purdy. Their receiving core is comparable. Their O-line is comparable to the Niners. But these are the two main differences that give the Niners the edge. That's CMC, and I think their defense is better as well. But point being, the Rams, I think people are underestimating them, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people this year. That being said, I'm going to start in the NFC for my division predictions. NFC South, I'm not giving any record predictions because I have no idea. That's a whole different thing. I'd have to look at the schedule. This is just based, barring injuries, this is how I think the divisions should shake out. So, I think for the NFC South, I think the Falcons are going to win that division. Like I said, I haven't looked at all the schedules, but I do know the Falcons have a very easy schedule. And I think Kirk Cousins, you know what you're getting with him. You're getting pretty solid, respectable quarterback play from Cousins. They do have Drake London. They have a lot to be excited about offensively. Their defense is kind of crap, but let's face it, this division is crap. So the Falcons, they're going to win that division, probably be a first-round exit. 2, I have the Bucs. The Bucs could definitely win this division again, like they did last year. There's no reason they can't, but I just think the Falcons, they improved a lot, and I think they're going to make a big jump. But yeah, Baker Mayfield had a great bounce-back year last year. Mike Evans is always great. Honestly, no one from this division is going far in the playoffs, so yeah. 1 Falcons, 2 Bucs, I think 3 Saints. And I think the Panthers are going to have a slight improvement. I don't think they're going to be as bad as last year, but I do think they will be last in the division. In the NFC East, I think the Eagles are going to win the division. I have my doubts about the Eagles and the Cowboys. And listen, I think they're both going to do well in the regular season. But I don't think either of them are going far in the playoffs. I think both of them are surviving off of the talent of their team. And I could be wrong. Listen, I didn't like Dan Campbell when he came onto the scene, and I was dead wrong. But it's just, I do think it's a little hypocritical that some people, or a lot of people actually, they criticize Mike McCarthy, but they praise Nick Sirianni for making the playoffs every year. And yeah, Nick Sirianni won a Super Bowl, but he won the Super Bowl with Shane Steichen as his OC. And immediately after they won the Super Bowl, Shane Steichen got offered a job as a head coach. So I think a lot of NFL teams saw that he was the brains of the operation. But Mike McCarthy has made the playoffs the last 3 years, 12 wins. So why does Nick Sirianni get praised and McCarthy get crapped on? That's my question. My opinion, neither of them are good. They all survive. They are both being carried by the talent of their teams. But I think the Eagles take the 1 spot, Cowboys 2, and then 3 and 4 is going to be a battle between the Giants and Washington, but I'm going to give it to the Giants for now. Washington at 4, assuming they don't start Jaden Daniels. NFC West, like I said, this is barring any injuries, so Niners 1, Rams 2. Cardinals 3, and then Seahawks 4. The Seahawks, I just don't see anything to be excited about. Cardinals, they do have Kyler Murray, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get over the hump of the Rams and Niners. NFC North, I got the Lions at 1, Packers at 2, and then I really don't know what to make of Caleb Williams, but I got the Vikings at 3 and the Bears at 4. That's really tough, honestly. My guess, I have no idea what Caleb Williams or J.J. McCarthy are. I'm betting on the fact that the Vikings, they have Justin Jefferson, and I think they have better coaching. I think Kevin O'Connell is better than Matt Eberflus. So, right now, Vikings at 3, Bears at 4. So just to review the NFC, I think the Niners will be the 1 seed, Lions the 2, Eagles the 3, Falcons the 4. And then their 3 wild card teams in the NFC are the Packers, Rams, and Cowboys. In the AFC, starting with the AFC South, I think the Texans run away with that division. The Jags come in second. Colts at 3 in a tight battle with the Jags. And then the Titans finish last. I don't really believe in Will Levis very much. AFC West, Chiefs 1. Chargers, I think, are going to be competitive too. Broncos are going to be a 3, probably a 7-win team or so. And then Raiders they're last in the division. Nothing I can really praise them about. AFC East, I think, is the toughest division for me to evaluate. Actually, AFC East and AFC North are the toughest divisions for me to evaluate. I've been back and forth in the AFC East for weeks, just because I have no idea what to expect from the Jets at all. But I think if Aaron Rodgers does manage to stay healthy, I think the Jets win the division. I think the Bills get second. Dolphins get 3. I think the Dolphins are going to fall out of the playoffs this year. That may be you can call that a bold statement, but every year there's a surprise team that doesn't make the playoffs. I think that's the Dolphins this year. And then obviously the Patriots are last. They are probably going to be the worst team in the league this year. Finally, the AFC North. Again, barring injuries, we don't know how healthy Joe Burrow is, but I'm going to say Bengals 1, Ravens 2, Steelers 3, Browns 4. So that puts the standings for the AFC. I think Chiefs 1 seed, Bengals 2, Texans 3, and then the Jets at 4. Then your 3 wildcard teams are the Ravens, Bills, and Chargers. And that is my predictions for the playoffs. I'm not going to get too deep into the details, but I do have a Niners and Bengals Super Bowl at the end of the year. That's my early prediction. But yeah, that is about a 15-minute podcast today. I will be back Monday, and I should be able to get a full weekend next week. So I will see you then. This is Dylan Miller on Delitos Dylan. Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. It's Dylan Miller on Delitos Dylan. Have a good day. See you Monday.